Welcome to No Nonsense Psychiatry, the podcast that cuts through the noise and the confusion surrounding mental health. My name is Mark and I'm your host, and my goal is to give you the clear, practical information you need to understand your own well-being. No jargon, no fluff, just honest, helpful tools to help you on your journey. Let's dive in.
No nonsense.
Hi and welcome back to No Nonsense Psychiatry, the show that breaks down complex mental health topics into simple, actionable strategies. And today we're stepping away from the couch and heading straight to your wardrobe or your closet. Why? Because we're exploring the concept known as dopamine dressing, or scientifically enclosed cognition. So dressing for your mood, your wardrobe is your wellness tool. It's a powerful idea that clothes you choose to wear can systematically and intentionally change your behaviour, your attitude and your mood. So stop thinking of your clothes as just as fabric and start thinking of them as psychological tools for self-care and motivation. In this episode, we're going to dive into the science of colour, how a splash of red can instantly boost confidence while soft blues promotes calm, historical proof, the ancient roots of chromography, and how the concept of the power suit proved that clothes grant symbolic meaning, and the power of texture, why soft cashmere physically signals comfort and structure. And we will give you 3 simple, effective steps like identifying your power piece and your comfort uniform to start intentionally dressing for the mood you want to achieve, not just the mood that you woke up with. It's time to hack your wardrobe for a better mental health, so let's get started. Dressing for your mood, often called a dopamine dressing or mood enhancement dressing, is the consciously practice of choosing clothes, colours and accessories that intentionally influence your emotional state, reflect how you feel and help you feel how you want to feel, basically. It's based on the psychological concept of enclosed cognition, which suggests that the clothing that we wear can systematically change our behaviour, attitude and mood. So how does that work? Dressing for your mood operates in a few key psychological and personal levels. First of all, there's the colour psychology. So specific colours are linked to different emotions and energy levels. To feel energised or confident, choose bold, warm colours like reds, orange, bright yellows. Red, for example, is often associated with power and energy. To feel calm and relax, opt for cool, muted colours like soft blues, greens, or neutrals like beige, cream. Blue is often perceived as a calming colour and trustworthy. To feel happy and playful, wear bright, varied colours or fun patterns that instinctively lift your spirits. Emotional connection. Clothes hold memories and associations, nostalgia and comfort. Wearing your favourite old sweatshirt might evoke feelings of comfort and security from the past. Aspiration. Choosing an outfit you wore when you achieved a goal or felt particularly successful can help you tap into that confident mindset. And the feel of the fabric can directly impact your mood. Security, for instance, heavy structured fabrics like tailored jackets can make you feel professional and authoritative. Comfort, soft flowing, breathable fabrics like linen and cashmere are often chosen when seeking physical or emotional ease. And here are a couple of common ways that people dress for their mood. I feel anxious and stressed, so the goal is to feel calm and grounded. So I'm going to choose soft textures, loose fits and neutral earth tones. I'm going to focus on simplicity to reduce any sort of visual noise. If I was to feel tired and unmotivated, I want to feel energised and alert. So I'm going to wear a piece of bright contrasting colour or a power accessory like a bold watch or a necklace to introduce external energy. Or I feel really happy and good and I want to amplify that and express that feeling. So I'm going to wear my favourite items of pieces that make me feel fun and free and celebrate, to maximise that self-expression. So in short, dressing for your mood is about recognising the deep link between clothing choices and your psychological state, and using that connection as a tool for self-care and self-motivation. The concept of dressing for your mood, or using clothing to intentionally influence emotional and psychological states, isn't a modern intervention. While the term dopamine dressing is new, the underlying idea that has roots in several historic and cultural traditions, especially in the fields of colour psychology and occupational wear. So here's a brief history of how the idea developed. So ancient roots, colours and symbols. The belief that colours affect mood and health is ancient, which forms the core of mood dressing in Egypt and Greece, 3000 BC. Ancient cultures widely practiced chromography or colour therapy, believing that the specific colours possessed healing properties and could influence emotions. For example, the ancient Egyptians used colour minerals, and the Greeks associated colour with different humours, body fluids, using them to balance mood and temperament. And the cultural symbolism. So throughout history, specific colours in clothing were used not just for aesthetics, but as a signal of status or emotion or intention. So wearing bright red in some cultures meant power or aggression, while white was reserved for purity or mourning. Choosing these colours were a constant effort to adopt the associated emotional state or the message. By the 19th and earlier 20th century, saw the formal start of psychological research into the effects of colour. And Goth's theory of colours in 1810, the German writer Jonathan Wolfgang van Goethe published his extensive theory of colours and detailed how colours affect human perception and emotion. He argued that colours weren't just physical phenomena, but deeply subjective and psychological experiences, laying groundwork for later colour psychology and fashion. And then there's the power dressing era post-World War II. While not explicitly about mood, the mid-20th century saw clothing strictly defined for this function, and the idea of the power suit emerged, where clothing was strategically chosen to project authority and confidence and competence in the workplace. And this solidified the idea of wearing certain clothes could make you feel more powerful. Modern research in clothed cognition, the modern scientific basis for dressing for your mood, was established by the concept of enclothed cognition. And the hypothesis in 2012, researching Halo Adam and Adam Galinsky formalised the concept of enclothed cognition, and their studies demonstrated that clothes we wear systematically change the way we think and behave, but only if we internally associate them with a symbolic meaning with that clothing. For example, when participants wore a white lab coat associated with science and attention, they performed better on attention-related tasks, and those who wore the same coat but were told it was a painter's smock. Social media age in the 2010s presents the dopamine dressing idea, and in this term, I guess, gained traction on social media, especially after global events like COVID-19 pandemic caused people to seek easy, accessible ways to boost their mood and mental health through bright colours and comfortable fabrics. And the focus shifted from formal status to personalised or personal emotional well-being. In essence, while people have always used clothing to reflect their influence and their feelings, the modern dressing of body mood movement is a psychology tool and rooted in centuries of colour theory and recent scientific validation. One of the most classic examples is dress for the mood, specifically in a mood of authority and competence. And the story is that in professional environments, particularly in business, law and politics, individuals often speak about how they putting on a tailored, structured suit, the power suit, fundamentally sort of change their mental state. The sharp shoulders, the heavy fabric and the meticulous fit are all associated with seriousness, confidence and high status. Many report that simply wearing that attire makes them feel more authoritative. I can't get my words out. And causes them to stand straighter and makes them approach difficult negotiations or presentations with greater self-assurance. And the clothes itself act as a mental trigger, boosting the intended mood of the success and story. The narrative aligns closely with the original scientific study on enclave cognition. In Hajo Adam and Adam Galenkski's 2012 studies, participants who wore a white lab coat, a garment symbolised by scientific rigour and careful attention, performed significantly better than the attention-related tasks that for those who did not wear the coat. So this demonstrated that clothing didn't just look professional, the symbolic meaning that participants attached to the coat, intellect, focus and precision, were internally absorbed. They weren't just dressed for mood or focus, the clothes meant that they were more focused. The mirror and experiences of students who claim to study better when they're wearing clothes they associate with school or work rather than just their pyjamas. The story of bright colour, this is a quintessential story of modern dopamine dressing for the personal well-being. So the story behind it is that many individuals share that on days when they feel particularly low and anxious and unmotivated, like the Michael story of the addiction recovery, forcing themselves to choose an article of clothing in a bright, cheerful colour. A vibrant yellow scarf, a pink shirt and patterned socks can provide immediate mood lifts. So the effect is that the bright colour serves two purposes. First, it breaks the mental pattern of gloom by introducing an external stimulating visual cue. Second, it can be a small, easy act of defiance against the negative mood, and it is a conscious, visible signal that the wearer is choosing to engage positively with the day, even if they don't feel like it yet. And the story collectively reinforces that our relationship with clothing is deeply psychological, and we constantly use our attire to shape both how we feel and how we interact with the world. To effectively start dressing for your mood, dopamine dressing, the key is to move from a simple choosing of clothes to assigning meaning to your choices. And here are 3 simple strategies to begin practicing mood enhancement dressing. The first is the colour cure, choosing your emotional boost. So the strategy focuses using colour psychology to instantly influence your mental state. So before you get dressed, identify the emotional state you want to achieve for that day, and not just how you currently feel. Then intentionally select an item that corresponds with that colour. So to feel energised or brave, wear a splash of red or bright orange, even just a scarf, a tie or a lipstick. These colours are stimulating and associate with power and action. If you want to feel calm and focused that day, choose deep blues and greens. Blue promotes tranquility and trust, while green suggests harmony and balance. And if you want to feel happy or optimistic, go for yellow or bright pink. Yellows are strongly associated with sunshine and optimism. The goal is, don't worry about the whole outfit. Just by adding one coloured element is enough to give your brain the constant psychological cue. Next, you can identify your power piece and comfort uniform. So assign a specific personal psychological meaning to certain items in your wardrobe. So you might select a power piece. Choose one item, a blazer, a favourite pair of boots, a watch, that you wear when you feel particularly confident, successful or authoritative, and put it aside as your power piece. Or select a comfort uniform. Choose one outfit, a specific sweater, a soft pair of trousers that makes you feel immediately relaxed, safe and nurtured. And this is your emotional safe zone for your low energy days. So whether you need to mentally switch gears quickly, whether gearing up for a tough meeting or covering a stressful day, you can instantly deploy your pre-assigned emotion uniform without having to think. And finally, the before and after daily check-in. So the strategy uses mindfulness to strengthen the psychological link between your clothing and your mood in clove cognition. So action. Take 2 minutes a day to practice this check-in. But before you dress, decide, I want to feel creative today. Choose the clothes by picking an item that you associate with creativity, maybe a flowing fabric or an unusual pattern or a purple top. After dressing, pause and silently acknowledge the symbolic meaning. I am wearing this purple top. I am choosing to feel creative and have an open mind today. This deliberate act of acknowledging that the why connects the physical clothing choice to your intentional psychological state. And this mindful association makes the effect much stronger and over time than simply just putting on the clothes randomly. So the top 10 colours for mood enhancement. So here's some colours paired with materials to help reinforce what we've been talking about so far. So navy blue, trust, calm and seriousness is the mood you're going for. The material reinforced structured wool with heavy denim, a dense fabric enhances the colour's authority and stability. Bright yellow, the target mood is optimism, energy and joy, and the material is going to be lightweight, cotton or silk, a fluid light material emphasising the sunshine and lightness associated with happiness. Deep greens, your target mood would be balance, harmony and renewal. Linen or heavy knit, a natural earthy texture, grounds the colour, reinforcing the connection to nature and stability. Crimson red, the target mood is confidence, power, action, and tailored wool, crepe or patent leather, crisp structures, lines that focused on the professional strength and energy. Soft pinks, a target mood might be compassion, nurturing or peace, and we're going to be looking at cashmeres or brush cotton. The extremely soft texture physically reinforces the emotion of softness and the care that pink conveys. Orange, you're looking for creativity, fun, stimulation, so you're going to wear corduroy or velvet, a distinctive texture, a tactile texture that matches the colour's vibrancy and promotes a bold and spontaneous mood. Grey, you're looking to neutrally focus and have some sophistication, and you've got fine merino wool or a silk blend. A smooth, refined texture helps project quiet intelligence and focus. Purples or violet, your mood is imagination, wisdom, luxury, and velvet or satin, rich reflective textures enhance the colour's association with the deeper depth of thought and luxury. Terracotta, your target mood is grounded, warm and security, and think knitwear or corduroy, dense, weighty fabrics provide a sense of physical security and stability. And finally, white, target the mood for clarity, simplicity, or just a clean state, and crisp poplin or heavy cotton canvas materials that hold their shape and sharply emphasise purity, precision and order. Okay, so let's have a look at the closing thoughts around this episode of the power of intentional dressing, if you like. And that brings us to the end of our journey in the dopamine dressing. And we've learned that your wardrobe is far more than just a fabric, isn't it? It's a scientific validating tool for mood management and self-enhancement. It's supported by centuries of colour psychology and modern research into clove cognition. Remember Michael's journey from the last episode? While his recovery was rooted in deep therapeutic work, today's episode shows that how even the smallest, most intentional choices, like selecting a bold red for a confidence or a soft cashmere for comfort, can reinforce your commitment to well-being. Think about making an active choice and use your clothes to create that mental state that you need. Start small. Use a colour cure to pick one item that boosts your mood tomorrow, or set aside for your personal power piece for your next big challenge. Every intentional choice is a little act of caring for your mind. So until then, dress powerfully, live intentionally, and take care of your mind. Before we go, if you found the podcast helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit from it. You can also support the show by subscribing and leaving a review. It only takes a moment, but it makes a big difference in helping us reach more people. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode of No Nonsense Psychiatry.
No nonsense.